Hello there, we're just recording a short introduction to the Glide system for new users to the system, and this is principally focused on covering the basics of using Glide on a day-to-day basis. First thing to cover is how to actually log in. You'll need to come to the Glide website, www.whatsglide.com, and click on the login button. Once you've done that, I'd recommend probably bookmarking this page here. This is the only one you actually need to come to. And first time round, you'll need to enter your credentials, being your email address and your default password. Click on the login. Once you've done that once, they will no doubt be remembered by your browser going forward. Okay, so once we're in Glide, first thing to do when you first arrive in Glide is to click on your name up here and click on Profile. Click on Options. And right here you can change your password, so enter the default one that's created and then think of your own one here and update the password. That's definitely the first thing to do. First of all, I want to explain about dashboards. So to get back to your dashboard anytime, just click on the icon in the top left hand corner and this will take you to your primary dashboard, so the first one that you set up. Now it might be blank, or it might already have some widgets. That depends on how the system has been set up. What you might want to do is change the widgets that are visible. So you can do a variety of things. If a widget is of little use to you, you can click on the cross icon in the top right hand corner. That will get rid of the widget. If you want to change the layout, you can use the icon in the top left hand corner to drag these things around to arrange them differently. And whilst you're on a dashboard, you'll see there's a plus icon across the menu bar. That'll only be visible when you're on the dashboard. If you click on the plus icon, that will bring up a list of all of the widgets. So this is how you add new widgets to your dashboard. The top section here, user widgets. These widgets bring in information from all of the different workflows. So for example, all of your upcoming targets, all of your outstanding deadlines, in list format, in calendar format, etc., etc. Coming down, you'll then have a section for each of the workflow systems that's set up. Now, this will depend, of course, on how your system has been configured. Select a widget and either add it to the left or the right and click Add Widget. When you've finished adding widgets, you can click Done. You're then free to move it over, put it wherever you like. It doesn't have to be on one side or the other. So this is my first primary dashboard. It's called General, and I get to it via the Glide button. If I click on this user's name here, what we'll see is that currently there's two dashboards here. So the second one is called Onboarding Progress. You can have as many dashboards as you like. So if you want to add more, just click on your name, click on Profile, click on Options again, and it's just here, Dashboards. Here you can rename the names of your dashboards and you can add extra dashboards. Okay, so I've just added a third dashboard there, and I can now rename this to whatever I want. If we go to that dashboard, we'll see that that one will start out blank and we need to add the widgets. Just to look at maybe three of the key widgets here. In the Accounts and CT system, the Progress Monitor by Stage. Now usually there's just two of these, but I actually have two root variations, so I end up with 6. But if I go for that top one there, by Stage Table, what we'll see is that this is a list of all of my stages that I have set up on my accounts workflow, and a list of jobs at each stage. This has defaulted to the overall view. This is an important thing to bear in mind. The eye icon here, if you click on this, you can change the filter level. So overall will show you results for every job in the system. Linked will actually filter down those results to jobs that you are linked to. So if you've been set as the preparer, or if you're the manager or the partner for a particular job, then you would set linked and you would only see the ones that you are linked to. And held is where you are literally responsible for the very next stage of the job. So for example, if you're reviewing a file, you'll be the current holder. So there's also, if you have multiple offices, it might well be that an office level filter has been activated, which will show the results for your office. Probably the most widely used one is linked. Okay, a couple of other popular widgets just to show you the upcoming targets. If you're using the target dates, then this one will be quite handy. This looks at all jobs, it looks at all outstanding stages, and for every job it picks out the earliest target date, and it will show you that kind of how many days you have left to go, or how many days overdue that job is. So putting to one side the deadlines, this is a good way of keeping on top of what things are kind of important to turn around quickly. In terms of deadlines, all of the systems with statutory deadlines have a deadline monitor. That's a useful one to have. Your system will be configured to automatically create jobs at a time of someone's choosing, perhaps a month before the year end, and as soon as a job's created it will appear both in the top row here and in your deadline monitor. If it's an incorporated client, you're going to have a new number in each of these fields here. Any of these things you can click in and drill into. See the results, and from here you can go to the client card by clicking on the client name, or to the job card by clicking on the job date. Okay, I won't go through all of the widgets, so next thing to look at is actually the really important bit, how to record that you've actually done something on a job. There's lots of ways of navigating to jobs. You might see a reference to the job date on the dashboard here, like this date here. If I click on that, that'll take me to the job card. You might see a reference to your client, which will take you to the client card. From the client card you can actually then access, just click on the appropriate tab, you can access all of your active jobs. But perhaps the quickest way of all, based on the fact that you know what you've just done, is you can just type your client into the search bar. That will show you both the client, and it will also list some of the active jobs. So for example here I can hit return and go straight to my accounts job card. So this is my accounts job card. Yours will quite possibly look very different. This is the template, and typically customers of Glide will configure these quite a lot, so your stages could look different. But we can still show you the basics of how this works. So the current stage is shown here. To request books and records is my current stage. For every stage there'll be one or more progress buttons, and for you to record that you have done something you simply click the progress button. So it's only ever one click. It's a very simple process to follow when you get to the job card. So what that's done is that's changed my stage. So in this case it's moved me on to the next stage, awaiting books and records. They could well be set up to go backwards, forwards, to jump a few stages to complete the job. That will all have been configured for you, and as I say, when you arrive on the job card, hopefully the stage you see here is the correct one, and you'll have lots of options here, and whatever's just happened should be one of these options. So if we've just received the books and records, we just click once, books and records received. These buttons will do quite a few things. As well as changing the stage, they may well change the holder. So for example, if you were holding this job and you've just clicked to say that you've passed it to someone else, if it's configured correctly, the holder will automatically change. And if you think about your dashboard, that any widgets that are filtered to held, or any widgets that are specific to talking about jobs you're holding, that job will disappear out of yours and it will pop up on someone else's. The buttons also may well be set up to trigger target dates, and that will obviously influence the upcoming targets widget on the dashboard. So to move all the way through a job, if you've done multiple stages, it's simply repeating that process. Finding the appropriate button, clicking the button. If you think there should be more buttons, just let your kind of system administrator know, and they will, I'm sure, be able to configure that. So what we've hit here is a traffic light. The system is asking for some information before you're allowed to move forward, and it's telling you the name of the field. So in this case the preparer field is down in the bottom left here. I'm having to tell it who is completing the job. Then we're allowed to hit job started, and you'll probably see those again towards the end depending on how your system's configured. I just want to get to the bottom of this workflow to show you another example of where you might see those traffic lights. So finalised here is the final button. Once that's clicked, the job is complete. Its job card is accessible forevermore, but it won't be visible on the dashboards, so it's quite an important milestone. These deadlines here, they've been automatically calculated. You might notice that they walk back to the last working day. So if the 31st of August here is a Saturday, this would be shown the 30th of August, for example. You can't complete a job with incomplete deadlines, and so we have to complete them. Now, depending on how the workflow is configured, that's either what happened automatically when you pass through a stage, or, as is the case with my template here, I have some fields down here just to click that I've submitted the accounts to Companies House, which ticks off that one. That CT payment is made, client advised, ticks off that one, and that CT 600 due ticks off that one. So on some occasions you may need to fill in these job fields down here. Then I'm allowed to hit finalised. Just to cover off a couple of settings on the client cards. Where it comes on the left hand side here, where it goes green and red, these are the recurring workflow systems, and green means it's active, the service is provided, red means it's not active, the service isn't provided. Now, this will most likely be set up by someone when you take on the client, whoever's responsibility that might be within the practice, but it's worth knowing exactly what this means. So for example here, payroll month end isn't active. If you were asked to activate it, you just throw this switch from not active to active. And the important thing to remember is that, well, first of all, you'll see a trigger here. You might have multiple triggers. So, for example, on payroll, lots of different triggers, just the one here. You have to provide the date of the first workflow you wish to track through Glide. So, if we had just started providing, payroll month-end services to this client, and the first one was July, I would come in here and put July. What we'll see is that it's set up to create automatically, in this case, 10 days before. And that's good because today is the 11th of July, so I can just leave this now, that's job done. If, however, I'd put in here 30th of June, the auto creation date would be the 20th of June, and because that's in the past, I would just hit create now, just the once, and then going forward it would all be automatic. Final thing to mention, if your dashboard doesn't quite have the info you need, the most likely place to find it is under the workflows. You'll see a jobs report for each of your workflow systems. And there are lots and lots of filters here for you to create your own reports. You can save reports, so on and so forth, export them. That's probably the whirlwind tour of the Glide workflow system. Section 2 of this video is for those of you using the Glide scheduler add-on. So just to bring this to your attention, you click on the menu here. This will be labelled with the name of the firm, and scheduler is where you'll find the Glide scheduler. There's not an awful lot on mine here, I'm afraid, but 2 members of staff. So if you have teams and offices set up, you can default to viewing a particular team or a particular office. You may have been given access to read this screen or potentially to read and adjust the screen. If you have the latter, you'll be able to create blocks of time. So simply drag across the period of time that you wish to make a booking on, then do a single click, and most probably what you'll be doing, I guess, is setting a client, and you can choose from your clients here. Either scrolling down, or if you just backspace and then start typing, you'll be able to see, better search your clients. Once you've linked to a client, there's other things you can do. You can actually link this to a job, so you'll find your jobs in here. So maybe let's say it's the November 17 accounts that we're doing here. You can also add a note. So we can make a note, for example, please go to the handle office. Okay. And if anyone clicks on this, they'll be able to see that note in there. What else can we do? We can obviously make changes to the job or the client. We can actually lock this slot. What that means is that we'll see a padlock there, and only literally myself or a super user can now unlock that slot. So for example, if you have a lot of bookings that are perhaps more provisional in nature, if you're plotting out what everyone would do, but then one of them you actually phone the client and book it in, it's worth locking that down just to make sure it never gets moved. We also have if I just unlock this slot, we also have the ability to pin the slot. That's kind of an intermediary position between unlocked and locked, and you can obviously use that for whatever purpose you see fit. You can also change the colour, so a variety of different colours available, which perhaps could be used to represent which part of the business, which partner, which manager the member of the team is working for. You'll see over here we have 4 views. So we have the day view, we have the week view. So day view there is offering up 15-minute chunks, 15-minute slots rather. The week view is offering up hourly slots. The month view is offering up the daily slots, as is the yearly view. They're all showing you the same data. So if we were to find the 3rd of July on our daily one, if we just come across here and scroll back, there we can see the booking that we've made for Ice Sealer. So that is the scheduler there. If we just go to Ice Sealer and have a look at where this is shown on there, got a client card, for example, we've got scheduler down the left here. Okay. It would help if I did something in the future. Let me go and make a second booking on scheduler for iSealer, and this time we're going to the clue was in the yellow column here, that's today, so let me make a booking just here, and again we'll set this to iSealer, hit save, and then I'm also going to allocate it to the job, which was the account November 17. Okay, let's try again. There we go. So fingers crossed this time. Yeah, so what we see here is that we've got a booking for BN 12th to the 15th. I didn't actually add a note on that occasion, so there's no description there. So that is the scheduler. So I think that concludes the video. If you have any queries whatsoever, probably direct them first of all to kind of super user internally, and they'll no doubt get in touch with Glide if we can assist them. Thank you very much.